Good morning, everyone. Today I'd like to share with you my office, which is also the dining room, but this is my new space and how everything is set up. I have actually moved once again this year. Hopefully it will be the last move for a little while. I am now living with my partner in his house. Lucky for me, a lot of our furniture has melded together very nicely, so I am grateful for that, and also I am grateful to have my desk and this beautiful space. This is definitely my favorite place in the whole house, and it is probably where I spend most of my time every day. I love this desk so much. It came to me, well, I sought it out. For many years I had wanted a big secretary desk and would visit the antique stores regularly, and there's so many beautiful desks out there, and if I had the space and the money, I think I could easily have a desk collection, an antique desk collection, and probably find a use for each and every single one of them. But alas, I have the one, and I am so grateful to have it. On this side, we have a hutch. This belongs to my partner. I have infiltrated it just a little bit. These are my typewriter boxes up here. We have teas and other random things. And then down below are journals 7 through 47 that have been archived. I've gone ahead and typed out all of the numbers. This is a really fantastic postcard that I received from a pen pal. Thank you. This is just a little tray for outgoing mail. So all of these are letters that I have written for my pen pals, and they are awaiting to be mailed out. Down below are my very first journals. So that would be 1 through 7. And then these two boxes here house supplies for leather work or sewing. And from the hutch, we'll move over to the top of my desk. This is one of my absolute favorite discoveries, or finds rather. It is a wind-up clock from the Soviet era, and it's incredible. I wind it up about once a week, and it is very consistent. Behind it is a really wonderful black and white photograph that a pen pal's mother took. And I just really love industrial spaces, and I love photographs of them as well. I just like the shapes, the geometry of it, the shadows. And then this kind of cold, hard metal space. I just think it's so fascinating. And it's always an interesting contrast to the space that I actually prefer to exist in. Moving along, we have a cup for dip pens, pencils, and brushes. These are feathers that I have found, mostly turkey feathers, and some of them have been turned into quill pens, and others are waiting to be turned into quill pens. I have yet to do a quill pen that I'm really proud of. And that one has a little bit of blood because last time I did it, I actually cut my thumb when I was carving into the shaft. We have my Breyer Stablemate horse collection, which is a collection that I've been developing over the last couple of years, or actually several years now. I'm not an aggressive collector, I just collect them here and there as the years progress. You can see how tiny they are. I've always loved Breyer horses, and I would have loved to collect the larger ones, but they're large and they require a lot of space, and I have a lot of collections, and so these small stablemates have been perfectly adequate, and a lot of them are just as detailed and really quite beautiful. I used to have every single one of them tagged, because I love archiving things. But I have moved so many times since developing this collection that a lot of their tags have been lost in the shuffle. And one of these days I will replace them. And honestly, in reality, I just love tiny things anyways. I prefer tiny things. So the Stablemates really were the perfect option for me. I hope to bring a couple new ones home, as there were some releases this year that I would like to incorporate into my collection. And then there's a couple of Generation 1 horses that I'm always on the search for. This is one of my favorite discoveries, and it is a 1967 daily journal. And this woman wrote every single day. She logged her whole life for an entire year, or at least a very small portion of her life, I should say. And she lived in Tucson, Arizona, which is where I live. So it's like extra special. And the really cool thing about it is she put the weather every day. She would say whether it was sunny and what the temperature high and low was. And so that's really fun to compare to. And kind of as a tradition, I've done this for a couple of years, is on the New Year's, I'll every day check in with her logs and compare the temperatures and compare what she did that day to what I've done that day. And then up here, sharing a space with Hidalgo, we have chromatography strips here. I love labeling things with my typewriter because the font is just so beautiful, and the way a typewriter types is just something so special about it. But anyways, this is just a, oh, oops, you don't belong here, you belong here. This is my tool jar, so scissors and an X-Acto knife, a bone folder that's a little bit dirty. I have this for melting sealing wax. I have an awl. I have a little tiny ruler and some hemostats. Before we look into the desk, I just want to show you this part of the room here real quick. This is my new Victorian ball and stick magazine holder that I'm so excited about. So here are my vintage magazines that I use to collage. Most of them have had their covers hacked into at this point. But it's just a nice way to have my magazine collection stored for easy access, because this is also my workspace. Over here we have my partner's collection of found objects, mostly. It's a bit dusty up there, but I've actually thought of dusting this up here. But there's just so many objects, and some of them are really delicate, and I don't have it in me to pull every single thing down. Some of the stuff is mine, but most of it is his. Here we have my little basket of trash. I keep it off the floor because Bean will inevitably knock it over and spew trash all about. He loves knocking trash bins over. And digging up houseplants. Oh, you naughty little weasel. And this is my beautiful baby, my Olympia Deluxe. It's just so gorgeous. She sits on the shelf for easy access. I'm actually selling my very first typewriter, believe it or not. It's listed up on eBay right now as we speak. And it's this one here. This is my very first. It's a Smith Corona Skywriter. I would love to have a whole collection of typewriters. But right now I feel like I should be a little bit more responsible with my money. So what I'm doing is selling this so that I could buy a new one. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but there's one in particular that I really would like to bring home. And right now, the only way I can responsibly justify that purchase is by selling one of the ones I already have. And one day I know I will have another Smith Corona. I think probably a Silent Super. Anyways, the next shelf down are some of my books that I've collected, including some Arizona Highways collections. This here is my paper for typewriting, and also all of the pages that I've typewritten. I kind of also journal on my typewriter and write stories. So there's a whole collection of such things. And look I have space for more books. And then the bottom two shelves are books that belong to my partner. Now this isn't a house tour, but this is a shelf of mine that is in a different room full of some of my other books, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you as well, because I do love collecting books. On the wall opposite the desk, my partner has this beautiful shelf that has been passed down in his family. But I have put some of my collections on it as well, like my little dog collection. I have a lot of collections, as you can see. I just am a collector at heart. It's hard to resist. And again, this collection isn't like a collection that I've been super aggressive about, but every once in a while I run into a dog that just has a lot of personality, and so I bring it home. Okay, so stay tuned for part 2 of this video, as I would like to show you what's inside my beautiful special secretary desk. Thank you all for watching as always, and happy writing!